Lunar eclipse in Pisces, August 28. Mundane astrology and global risk report. On August 28, the lunar eclipse activates the Pisces Virgo axis again. This is not an abstract or symbolic event. Eclipses operate as concrete triggers for world and climate events. A multi week window of tension begins where two major fronts collide: extreme weather instability linked to water and wind, and sudden ruptures in diplomatic agreements, trade, and governance. So, I will sharing with you this astrologic report for the lunar eclipse in Pisces. This is a mundane reading, and then I will be sharing in another video something about more like personal astrology. So my name is Carolina Mar. I welcome you all, and thank you for sharing. Thank you for leaving me your comments, and thank you for giving me your thumbs up. We are going to start with this theme because it's really a moment of tension and will be like a moment of bigger disasters that we are seeing right now happening all around the world. I've been talking about this in my latest videos, and I invite you all to watch them, especially the entering of Jupiter in Leo and Chiron in Tauro, because this is everything is related, you know. So let's start with this information. You can see in the screen the chart of this eclipse. Something that is really important. We are going to have a big tension with the T square. Okay, we have a T square. Remember that T square is it's a relationship between planets that is the most, I think, feared in mundane astrology, especially. Okay, because it's a moment where massive explosions can happen. So we have here, as I said, the T square in between the Sun, Mercury, and the Moon, the eclipse specifically, and Uranus in Gemini in the 10th house. We have to understand that here Uranus is a planet that is receiving all the tension of the eclipse because he is like the feral planet in this aspect. Okay, so we are going to talk about this specifically, but we have some other, leader actors here, like Mars. We have here Jupiter. We have Saturn. All of them are making some kind of, of tension movements here. Okay, Mars is in a square with Saturn in Aries. These both are in cardinal signs, and also Chiron is in a square with Pluto. So we have to be prepared for everything that is coming for the world. Okay, let's start with the weather and geophysical alert. The eclipse takes place in water sign, receiving direct tension from a planet of disruption and shock located in an angular position of maximum visibility, that is Uranus. Okay, you can see it here. Okay, Uranus and this T square. Okay, so, severe storms and destructive winds. The combination of turbulent air with the water element triggers sudden squalls, hurricane force gusts, and severe thunderstorms with extensive lightning strikes. That is the personality of Uranus, of course. Coasts, ports, and navigation, coastal areas, maritime ports, and river routes will face intense pressure from abnormal storm surges, flash flooding, and disruptions in maritime transport logistics. Flooding and water saturation, rivers overflows, complications with dams or canals, and the structural damage to basic infrastructure due to excess water. Significant risks of landslides and waterlogged agricultural fields. Also, geophysical activity, and we are seeing all around the world major events with earthquakes. In coastal regions and maritime fault lines, this alignment frequently coincides with seismic activity or earth tremors in the days immediately preceding and following the eclipse. Okay, this is not like something could happen exactly that day, but could happen, you know, um, before the eclipse, or could happen right now, because we are already in the window, energetically speaking, of the eclipse. Okay, so another theme that is important here is Mars, because Mars and the fourth house, weather and land, is the ruler, because we have in the fourth house Scorpio. In Mars is the ruler of that sign. Okay, in mundane astrology, the fourth house governs weather conditions, land, agriculture, and underground water supplies. In this chart, the cusp of the fourth house lies in Scorpio, a fixed water sign. So, in Mars is the traditional ruler located in Cancer, in the 12th house, in its falls, and also in a water sign. Mars in Cancers apply by a trine to the eclipse. Okay, you can see here Mars is in a trine to the moon, so is in a trine with the eclipse himself. Okay, so this is important. Uh, this intensify moisture, the likelihood of landslides, flooded farmland, and infrastructure vulnerabilities related to underground water systems and reservoir. So, pay attention to this. Geophysical and seismic activity. Given the tense T square contact between the Sun, the Moon, and Uranus across these mutable signs, Pisces, Virgo, and Gemini. Okay, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and the T square that you can see here. Okay, alongside Pluto in Aquarius, here we can see it here, Pluto in the sixth house, in out of signs square to fixed points. Okay, there is an increased predisposition to seismic event or geopolitical fault shift, especially in coastal or maritime zones where these planetary lines become angular via astrocartography. Okay, let's see where else. The world outlook, politics, and power. In the social and geopolitical sphere, this eclipse strikes the core axis of international relationship, leadership, and public opinion, because it's happening in between the first house, where is the sun, the leaders, and Mercury, the statements, declarations, the microphone, and the seventh house, which is the house of treaties, international relationship, okay, and where is happening this eclipse. And this is the closure of something, okay? So it's a breakdown of agreements and diplomacy crisis, treaties, trade negotiations, and previously stable alliances enters in a phase of rupture or forced negotiation. Past agreements become unsustainable under emerging realities. Surprise executive decisions, intense tensions upon the governing angle signal expected, announcement from heads of states, sudden resignation, strikes, and sharp shift in national politics that disrupt global markets. Subterranean tension, covert security maneuvers, intelligence operations, and measures enacted away from public view that triggers widespread unrest of massive intelligence leaks. The eclipse moon in the seventh house. the public and foreign affairs. Okay, this is happening right here. The seventh house governs alliances between nations, international treaties, and situations of open conflicts. And we are having right now uh, some or the biggest conflicts in the latest, I don't know, uh, times that we know, in between, for example, United States and Iran, and everything that is involved in that. Okay, so the moon represents the general public, the masses, and popular sentiment. Its affliction by eclipse in this sector indicates breakdown in bilateral agreements, non compliances with trade pacts, and fierce popular pushback against commitments made with foreign powers or international bodies. Interbloc relations enter an era of open confrontation or diplomatic freeze. Then we are going to see the 10th house, because the 10th house, remember, is a house of the governments, the leaders, okay, the public people, and the 10th house and Uranus is receiving all the tension from this T square that the eclipse are making, okay? So it's like pushing something. So the 10th house, the executive power, governments, and global standing. An afflicted and angular Uranus in Gemini in the 10th house triggers political upheavals, sudden cabinet reshuffles, dismissal of high ranking officials, and radical or erratic ideological pivots by heads of states. It fosters a volatile environment marked by general strikes, civil unrest, and paralysis of public services that directly challenge governability. Jupiter, okay? Jupiter, another leading actor here, Jupiter in the first house and Saturn in the ninth house. Legal tensions, borders, and block realignment, because Jupiter is in a trine with Saturn, okay? But in the middle of the conflict, in the middle of tension, in the middle of this, really complicated situation. And remember that Saturn is in an opposition with Venus in the third house. So I can see here that Saturn is the ruler, he makes the rules, and Venus wants to make peace, but it's becoming really difficult with this tension point. Okay, so Jupiter in Leo in the first house, traditional ruler of the eclipse, because Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, the old one. Jupiter governs national boundaries, legislative bodies, parliaments, senates, and international banking. Also, Jupiter rules the boundaries in terms of migration and everything that is related with frontiers. Its presence in the first house fuels nationalist statements, assertive rhetoric, and protectionist measures aimed at shielding domestic economies from the external instability. Saturn retrograde in the ninth house. The ninth house rules international law, Supreme Courts, long distance foreign relationships, and cross borders transport corridors. The fire trine between Jupiter and Saturn points to rigid overhauls of foreign trade laws, tighter customs and border controls, and legal gridlock in international courts attempting to adjudicate territorial or commercial disputes. Also, we have here, okay, the practical impact on trade and communications. Network and telecommunication blackouts. Uranus operating, okay, across communication and transport channels warns of severe networks disruptions, electrical grids outage, and air traffic or railway cancellations because by extreme weather. Audits and strict regulatory tightening. Mercury in a commanding position. Okay, here, Mercury with the Sun in Virgo audit something. Mercury is commanding positions that demands meticulous scrutiny of balance sheets, legal contracts, and supply chain logistics. Expect bureaucratic bottleneck, cross-border regulatory shift, and structural delays across global distribution channels. Okay, so the conclusion. Eclipses do not ask for permission. They accelerate pressure points that have reached critical mass. The key for the coming weeks is operational anticipation. Exercise extreme vigilance in coastal areas and flood prone zones. Back up critical data and establish contingency protocols for power supply and networks outages. Avoid financial or contractual commitments based on verbal promises. Base decisions strictly on verified executed facts. So, this is the eclipse and everything that you have to know in terms of mundane, astrology, and what is coming for the world. So, thank you all for watching. And remember that you can have your personal information, the sky that you have right now happening in your birth chart, and which decisions you need to make right now in terms of moving with the energy that is proposing a big shift, not only for the world, but for all of us in our personal lives. So I invite you all to go and watch my website www.carolinamar.com. Thank you all. See you the next time.